This is the Sigma 18 to 35 f1.8 zoom lens. Yes, you heard that right. That's a 1.8. Now this is insane. Now yes, the Sigma 18 to 35 1.8 is a pretty insane lens. So what's so special about it? It's a 1.8. So before we get to the actual image quality, I would like to take a look at the overall build quality of the lens first, since it costed pretty much as a 24 to 105 f4L lens. So the overall quality of it, although it's built by Sigma, it's not an actual Canon lens, but then it feels very much like a L lens. It maybe even feels a little better than an L lens. It looks good, it looks very good, it just doesn't have the red ring on it, but still, it feels very, very solid, very, very well built. It is made in Japan, so it is made to pretty strict standards, so the overall quality of it, it does have quite some weight to it. In fact, it's actually significantly heavier than my 24 to 105 L lens. So despite being a APS-C lens, this is a full frame lens, a 24 to 105, but of course this is a 1.8, so I think it has a lot more glass in it. So in fact, it's actually quite big as well. So for an 18 to 35 wide angle-ish lens, this is pretty long. So in fact, with the lens hood on, from afar you might actually mistake it for a 70 to 200. So yeah, it looks pretty much like a Tamron or Sigma 70 to 200 from afar, but still you notice it's slightly shorter, but still it's pretty big. That's what I was trying to say. It's pretty big. So moving on, another sweet thing about this lens is when you zoom in from 18 to 35, the actual physical size of the lens does not change. In fact, the front element doesn't budge at all. So I can zoom in and then zoom out and the actual lens stays in place. It's pretty much like a 70 to 200. But of course, the f1.8 constant zoom on this lens is insane. Nobody has ever done this yet. Sigma was the first, so it's a first. It's a first 1.8 zoom lens, and this is it. Now the entire lens is built perfectly. The whole lens, even the AF/MF switch, feels very, very good, very nice and solid. So everything else, it feels very solid. It's good plastic, rubberized rings. So the only complaint I have about the build quality is on the lens itself, but it's the hood that it comes with. So the hood itself feels very plasticky. It's not very dense at all. So in fact, it doesn't even click into place as well. For example, if I'm using the 24 to 105, where's the 24 105 hood? It clicks in place with a significant click. So, and it feels good. So the Sigma hood feels pretty flimsy. It's mostly plastic. Even the inner lining, it's plastic. It doesn't have that felt lining the Canon lens hoods have. And this outer ring here is rubber coated. It's the only bit that's rubber, and I don't think anybody even touches that. So anyway, might as well not use the hood because it doesn't even click in place well. It might fall off easily, so never mind. Alright, so taking a closer look at the lens, you can see it has a very elegant black and white feel to it. It's nice and glossy at some places, and it looks elegant. It just looks like a very high classy lens. Even the distance scale looks pretty nice. So, a very noticeable and remarkable thing about this lens is how smooth the focus and zoom rings are. So 18 to 35, when you zoom it in, I don't know how to describe it. It feels just so smooth. It feels even smoother than the L lenses, definitely. It's so well dampened, so you get some great zooming action, and the focus pulling is going to be a dream on this lens. And in fact, yes, the focusing ring actually feels better than my 24 to 105s. So if you're doing video, that's a huge plus. Now, one thing Canon users will have to get around with is that the zoom ring is reversed. So it zooms like a Nikon. So it goes it zooms in if you turn it clockwise. So you might find yourself zooming in while you're actually trying to zoom out, or you might find yourself zooming out when you're actually trying to zoom in with this lens. So it's definitely something you have to get over with and something you have to get used to. Now focusing is quick and silent. It uses a HSM motor, which is a USM equivalent of the Canon motors. It's a hypersonic motor, so it's silent and it is fast to focus, really quite fast. Alright, so here I'm shooting outside. Now you do get a little bit of barrel distortion at 18mm, but it's no surprise. Alright, so you do get some bit of vignetting wide open, but still it's a 1.8. Every 1.8 has vignetting. Now the bokeh on this is simply beautiful. The bokeh is very nice and smooth, and you get a nice shallow depth of field. It's less pronounced, but it's more manageable because it is a wide angle. It's not like a 50mm at 1.8 where the depth of field is just so shallow, it's so hard to nail focus. This is a lot more forgiving. So with this lens, you can also focus very up close. I was able to get to about 7 centimeters away from my subject, so you get some nice close-up shots with very nice bokeh, as stated. So ironically, the HSM motor on the Sigma 18-35 actually works better with the 70D's video autofocus feature compared to Canon's own USM lenses. So apart from that, the lens is also very good for low light use, mainly because of the 1.8 aperture, so it will be your best friend when it's in low light. It's gonna be a lot brighter than 24-70s, and the range, although is quite limited, but it is actually useful. 18-35 is a very useful range on an APS-C sensor. So it's like having an 80mm prime, which probably doesn't even exist, a 28mm prime and a 35mm prime, all in just one zoom lens. Now as you can see, the image quality of the Sigma 18-35 is very good. It's sharp across the frame, and it's even sharp wide open at 1.8. Of course, it improves to be even sharper when you stop it down. So the only cons of this lens would be that it has a slightly limited range, although useful range, but then it's heavy. So just these. Apart from that, this lens is just so good. So those are the only bad things I can actually think of this lens. It's big, it's heavy, and it's 18-35 only, but it's still a pretty good range. Can't ask for too much. It's a 1.8. So it's no big deal actually. It's still a simply stunning lens. So basically this is a great lens. I would highly recommend it. It's great quality, great price, great results, incredible results. So go pick one up if you're using a crop body and you need some sort of lens like this. Definitely, I would recommend this lens. So thanks for watching my review. If you have any questions, post them down in the comments section. Leave me a like. You can subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. This is Cheng from ZLI Productions. I'll see you all in the next video.